Hello, my name is Sean L. Ward, and I'm running for mayor of East Cleveland in the upcoming November election. There are many things that need to be addressed in East Cleveland, and I'll attempt to address them all between now and November as I move around the city, meeting and talking to as many of you as I can. But for now, I've created this video to discuss some of the key points of my administration if I'm elected. If I'm elected, I'll have an open and transparent administration. I'll be both accountable and accessible to the residents of East Cleveland. You'll know what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and what I expect to accomplish by doing it. I'll have open public forums where residents can ask questions, make requests, and present ideas. I'll institute office hours where residents can make appointments to sit down and speak with me one-on-one or in small groups. I'll also have open hours where residents can come in and speak with me without an appointment. One of the most critical objectives I'll have as mayor will be to get the mayor's office and the city council working closely together to conduct the business of the city. I'll take the lead in resolving whatever conflicts exist, and I'll assure council that I'll be a good partner, working together with them to move the city forward. I also want to strengthen the relationship between the mayor's office and the school district. The growth of the city is directly tied to the quality of the schools, and the growth of the schools is directly tied to the quality of the city. Also, I'll meet with community and neighborhood leaders, local clergy, and business leaders to form a coalition that will advise me and help me in East Cleveland's resurgence. As mayor, I'll authorize a complete and comprehensive forensic audit of all city departments. I want to have a complete understanding of East Cleveland's current fiscal state. The first step to a full fiscal recovery is a complete and accurate picture of East Cleveland's finances to develop a realistic fiscal recovery plan. I'll work to pay all outstanding debt that the city owes by seeking to make reasonable payment arrangements, and I'll work to collect any outstanding debt owed to the city by offering reasonable payment arrangements. I'll seek county, state, and federal funding to help repair and maintain East Cleveland's crumbled infrastructure. We need to have safe roads that will last a reasonable amount of time, taking into consideration the weather conditions in Northeast Ohio. And we need to have functioning streetlights. And we need to have functioning traffic lights. Because well-lit streets are deterrent to crime, and malfunctioning traffic lights are a safety hazard. I will review which city services we currently have and look to get rid of the ones that don't provide any value to the city or its residents. Also, I'll study the financial and operational feasibility of providing any needed services that the city currently does not provide. As mayor of East Cleveland, I will work to reform our police and safety forces in general. It's critical that our safety forces more accurately reflect the makeup of the community they serve. This will help rebuild the bonds of trust between East Cleveland's law enforcement and East Cleveland's residents. I'll work with police leadership to invest in training for officers on issues such as de-escalation, and the creation of guidelines for the appropriate use of force. I'll encourage better police-community relations. I'll end all profiling that targets individuals or protected groups, and I'll act on all reports of police abuse and misconduct. I'll bring in neutral agencies to investigate all questionable police-involved shootings and uses of force. And I'll review East Cleveland's civil asset forfeiture system to protect people and remove incentives for law enforcement to police for profit. I will initiate recruiting drives to get our safety forces up to the proper staffing levels. And I'll review the current leadership structure of East Cleveland safety forces to ensure that the leaders are effective and deserve to be in those leadership positions. I'll interview subordinates and others who regularly interact with these leaders, both internally and externally, to gauge the levels of support within the ranks and within the community. I want to review the promotion process to ensure that everyone has a fair opportunity for advancement and that people are advanced based on merit and performance, not personal relationships. I will review my authority to promote and recruit for the positions of police chief and fire chief. I'll ensure that the city has the opportunity to consider the best possible candidates nationwide. I need the ability to search for and interview any and all candidates that meet or exceed the minimum requirements for the jobs, whether that person is currently on staff or not. East Cleveland has had challenges promoting from within, especially in the police department. And this can't continue if the residents are ever going to regain confidence in our safety forces. East Cleveland needs to be able to expand the pool of candidates for critical roles in the city's safety forces and in the city's administration in general. I'll actively recruit businesses, including global, national, and regional brands that may be interested in doing business in East Cleveland. We have to bring new and sustainable businesses here. We've got to move beyond the traditional types of businesses that open in East Cleveland and attract businesses that pay higher salaries, which in turn will generate higher taxes for the city. I'll make it easier to start and grow a small business in East Cleveland. By supporting small businesses and entrepreneurship, we can grow jobs faster. I'll open access to credit because I know that small businesses are some of the best job creators in our communities. And I'll expand access to new markets where possible. I realize the critical importance of small businesses and entrepreneurship as engines of opportunity for growth in East Cleveland. As mayor, I'll find money to help renovate or modify the existing housing stock in East Cleveland. This will maintain or increase the property values of the homes so they can compete with property values of homes being built in East Cleveland. The blight in East Cleveland will be removed, and the people responsible for the blighted properties will be held accountable. The goal is to encourage new housing construction in order to increase the amount of living space in East Cleveland. This will stimulate population growth and increase the tax base. To revitalize East Cleveland, nothing is going to be more important than creating good paying jobs that can support a middle class lifestyle. There should be a healthy mix of professional jobs and trades jobs in our city's economy. As mayor, I will be committed to building strong, sustained, and shared economic growth. I believe we must provide opportunities for East Cleveland residents to compete for higher paying jobs and develop career skills. And most importantly, I will bring the types of businesses to East Cleveland that will be looking to hire a highly skilled workforce. As mayor of East Cleveland, I will make investments to spur the creation of jobs for our young people. The employment rates for our teenagers and young adults are far too high. The unemployment rates for our teenagers and young adults are far too high. This is why I will seek federal, state, and county funding for a range of local programs that will put our youth to work and create new career opportunities for them in the future. For East Cleveland businesses that compete for jobs and investments in clean energy, high tech, and internet technology. East Cleveland will be focused on creating high tech jobs, entrepreneurship, and innovation, which will be the fundamental foundation to our future economic growth. East Cleveland doesn't have a lot of space to accommodate businesses that require a lot of foot traffic. So initially, we need to focus on businesses that provide services and not as much on businesses that sell goods. Businesses like medical offices, medical lab services, technology services, call centers, consulting firms, staffing agencies, and legal practices, just to name a few. As mayor, I will nurture the next generation of scientists, engineers, and entrepreneurs to make sure East Cleveland can compete with and out innovate the rest of Northeast Ohio. New technologies are already transforming the world's economy, and they have the power to generate trillions in economic output. To benefit from this, East Cleveland will need to educate and train our workforce, support entrepreneurship, promote inclusion in the digital economy, attract and retain talented people, invest in research and development, and create innovation hubs so we can develop new ideas and get those ideas to market. As mayor of East Cleveland, I will end discrimination based on any protected category. I'll promote civility and speak out against bigotry and all other forms of intolerance that have remained staples in our society for far too long. I'll support all families in East Cleveland, regardless of their makeup. Services will exist to meet everyone's needs, and openness, tolerance, and cooperation will be the cornerstone of our community. As mayor, I'll be committed to ensuring full equality for women in East Cleveland. I will combat biases across economic, political, and social life that hold women back and limit their opportunities. I will be committed to protecting the rights of East Cleveland's residents with disabilities. I'll ensure that they get the accommodations and support they need to live seamlessly integrated into the fabric of the East Cleveland community. Our country faces a long-term care crisis that prevents too many seniors and people with disabilities from being able to live with dignity at home or in their communities. As mayor of East Cleveland, I will build and fund programs that emphasize independence, and I will work with area institutions to help provide the structure that better supports independent living for our seniors in East Cleveland. East Cleveland is made vastly stronger and richer by the community's faith, which is practiced in many forms and through countless acts of justice, mercy, and tolerance. I believe in uplifting the value, I believe in uplifting and valuing the good work of people of faith and religious organizations and finding ways to support that work where possible. I believe the power of faith and service. I believe in the power of faith and service to solve problems and break down barriers by bringing people of all backgrounds together for common purposes. Service expands opportunity for people across the city, which strengthens our community. As mayor of East Cleveland, I will support the Supreme Court's decision that recognized the rights of the LGBT community. I'll support all efforts to end discrimination against LGBTQ individuals and challenge any legislation that restricts their rights. I'll support LGBTQ elders, ensure access to necessary health care, and protect LGBTQ residents from acts of violence in East Cleveland. As mayor of East Cleveland, I'll confront the epidemic of drug and alcohol addiction. I'll seek to expand access to prevention and treatment programs, support recovery programs, and support community organizations that promote sobriety. Also, I'll end all forms of human trafficking in East Cleveland. I'll fight to have establishments that promote or profit from human trafficking permanently shuttered, including bars, lounges, hotels and motels, and residential homes and apartment buildings. My goal will be to assist the people in our community who are struggling with addiction or who are victims of human trafficking. I'll support them in their attempt to sustain healthy lives by encouraging full recovery and integration into society and working to remove common barriers to gainful employment, housing, and education. Work with area health professionals and support organizations to ensure that all residents, including children and families, have access to mental health resources in East Cleveland. As mayor, I'll seek federal, state, and county funding and also grants to support the arts and music education in East Cleveland. I'll be committed to restoring the policies and programs that will grow and sustain the full and rich history of performing arts and culture in East Cleveland. Investments in the arts will strengthen our community and contribute to East Cleveland's rich cultural heritage. East Cleveland prospers when we promote and protect our unique artistic and cultural heritage. East Cleveland's current City Hall building is an embarrassment. It's old and dilapidated, and it's unsafe to work in or to visit. It's both a safety hazard and a health hazard. It makes no sense to continue putting money into that structure for any reason. As mayor of East Cleveland, I will authorize a complete feasibility study on moving City Hall and all city operations, including police and fire headquarters, to Nilo Park, and converting the current site to an expanded fire and EMS station. I believe that East Cleveland must be led by someone who can grow the economy, protect the interests of and values of the community, and make the community safer and more prosperous. I believe that East Cleveland's leader must be a principled force for peace and prosperity in the community. I believe all people deserve to live in dignity and have their rights respected and protected. I believe that protecting rights and opportunities for all East Cleveland residents is essential for security and economic growth. I believe providing access to education and employment for young people and safeguarding the rights of our citizens is also important to ensuring stability. I believe that the smart use of diplomacy, development, and economic statesmanship can foster stability and make East Cleveland a more economically viable community. I believe that East Cleveland is stronger when East Clevelanders work together and when we find partners and allies rather than try to go it alone. I believe our community partnerships must be alliances, not burdens, and they must be a source of tremendous strategic advantage to East Cleveland. I believe that when East Clevelanders come together, we can do big things. And when we are bold and ambitious, we can do amazing things and make our economy stronger for decades to come. If you believe these things as well, I hope that you will support my campaign and vote for Sean L. Ward for Mayor of East Cleveland this November. Thank you, and I'll see you on the campaign trail.